I'm Ari and we're going to read a book of the Worried website. CLAIR S WORRY. The monster seemed me to oozed right out of the television, sat into my head. It was there plushing inside my brain, ready to ooze its way into my dreams. They are the worst nightmares ever. I don't know what I'm going to do. I start feeling regularly sick at tea time. I go out in the garden and play afterwards, but all the time I'm kicking a football about or running up and down with my skipping rope. I'm thinking about the monster. When I am watching television, is there too. Slithering into Central Park, I'm needling Peewees and Rachel and Monica like sweets. The mom starts nagging that it's time for bed, and the monster is lurking on the stairs in the bathroom under my bed. Death comes ready to Judy and me when the monster paces the corridors of Hogwarts too, munching Harry Potter into Miss Smith. After Dad talks us up and puts the light out, I whisper to Judy, desperate to keep her awake. I talk about all the boys' band she currently nods on and the new boots she wants embodies and a boy on the bike who waves to her every morning, and whenever this means he really fancies her. This is all terminally boring. But it means Judy will keep chatting to me. But no matter how I try to keep the conversation going, eventually she starts mumbling nonsense, and then she sighs and gives a little snort. She is asleep, dreaming about boys and bands and mics and boots. I struggle to stay awake because I know what I'm going to dream about. I hear Michael go to bed. Sometimes I even hear Mom and Dad go to bed. I play the silliest game to stop myself sleeping. I go through all my favorites. Hero David Beckham. Friend Holly and Lisa okay too. Hobby football. Teacher Mr. Speed. Color anything but slime green. But no matter which rainbow hue I choose, this sneaking slime green ooze over it, and I'm dreaming the monster is coming to get me. I dream it every single night. I waited to see if anyone typed in anything helpful on the Worried website. There were heaps of comments. Everyone said that had nightmares too. I counted, there were 30. That meant every single person in the class. No, wait a minute. I didn't comment on my own worry. Mr. Speed saw me scrolling down the screen by counting. I'm glad to see a person your maths as well as you. It's skill, Charlie. Claire. 30 it is. Someone's messing it about. Nothing twice, I said. Not necessary, said Mr. Speed. Not if we count the entire class. For peers and teacher. Do you put a command, Mr. Speed? Now you know perfectly well that conversation to the Worried website are strictly confidential, said Mr. Speed. I read them with great interest, trying to work out which was his. I dream I lost my old teddy turtle and I searched everywhere, and once I woke up and I still couldn't find him because he'd fallen out of bed, and I cried. I imagine Mr. Speed crying for his teddy. Perhaps not. I have awful nightmares too. Last night I dreamed about my mom, and it should have been lovely, but she turned into a wicked witch and cast a spell on me, so I couldn't talk. I don't know if Mr. Speed has still got a mom, but I can't ever imagine him not talking, even in his dream. My biggest nightmare is dreaming that I'm with my dad and it's all happy at first, but then he starts getting close with me and my little boy and brother and my mom, so he storms off. I wait, but he doesn't come back. That's quite definitely Samantha, so that's it, Mr. Speed put. I have the terrible nightmare that my feet tripled, troubling balloons, and overnight, and so I have to give up my brilliant career as the privileged footballer and returning as a teacher. I look Mr. Speed up and down. That's your nightmare, isn't it, Mr. Speed? The Worried website insists on anybody, said Mr. Speed. Yeah, but I know it's you. You weren't really a privileged footballer, were you? Mr. Speed crumpled a piece of paper in a ball. Haven't you read about the Speedy of United and all your football anniversaries? He dropped the paper ball and then aimed a kick at it. Only it wasn't nifty. It wasn't even a cake. He missed it altogether. I shook my head. You should have seen me before my business, she said. So Claire will do softness. You know my worst nightmare. Tell me yours. It's stupid, I mumbled, but scary. Very, very scary. Mr. Speed looked at me carefully. You look like a little panda. Dark circle under the eyes. Are these nightmares so bad they stopped you sleeping? I don't dare sleep. Mr. Speed raised his eyeballs. So, tell me about this nightmare. You can remember it? I can't ever forget it, I said. It's about this monster made of green slime and... Say no more, said Mr. Speed. I got a video out last week. Yep, it's seriously scary. Do Mom and Dad know you watch it? No. Oh, I see. You won't tell with you, Mr. Speed. Let's see if we can radically end your nightmare. Then we won't have to tell. What do you mean you can't edit nightmares? It just happened and it's horrible. I know it's horrible, Claire, but maybe you can control it. Change it around a little bit. You'd made it up inside your head. Hadn't you? It's like a story you write in your sleep, okay? Let's look on it as a first draft. Now you need to rewrite it. Change the scenario. You got to get the better of his monster. You mean flick my finger and go jab and the monster die? I said scarcely. I don't think that would work. No, probably not. It sounds a bit too powerful to be jabbed into obliteration just like that. But you came powerful too, Claire. What are you trying to say? I frowned at him. I'm good at football, but that's no use. Not when it comes to the monster. Maybe it is. Kick a football at him, aim right where it hurts. Make him double up. Mr. Speed, in a film, the monster defeats a whole army. But this is a monster in your head. He defeats whole enemies, yes, but he's so very wary of small girls with footballs. I thought Mr. Speed was just being silly to cheer me up. He did make me feel a bit better when I was at school, but when I went home, I started worrying again. I got into bed with Judy and hung onto her tightly. I tried very, very hard to stay awake, but eventually the doorway started turning slime green. Then I was dreaming, and the monster was there, oozing all over me. I screamed and ran. The monster was right behind me, reaching out, ready to slide his gristly tentacles around my neck. I tried running faster, speeding along. That made me think of Mr. Speed. I looked down and there was a football at my feet. I grabbed hold of it, turned and threw it right at the monster's middle. The ball got bigger. The monster got smaller. Much, much smaller. It doubled it up. Wearing it rocked itself oozing like a slime. There, just showing you, you horrible monster. Don't you dare come worrying me anymore. The monster groaned. It was shrinking rapidly now and limped away, whimpering. I kept my football high in the air and then kept it in trophy. Ow, my head! Get off, Claire, Judy yelled. Oh, sorry. I thought it was a football, I said, giggling. Look at it. Get back to your own bed. Okay, I said. I jumped out and climbed it under my own dravet. You're all right then, Judy whispered. Look, come back with me if you get the nightmare again. Just don't bash me about the head again, okay? I'm fine, Judy, really, I said, yamming. Shh, let's go to sleep now. I cuddled down under the divot and slept properly. I didn't have a nightmare about the monster. I had a funny dream about football. Mr. Speed and I were on the same team. Mr. Speed ran in a funny hobbly way because of his bunions, but he's managed to pass the ball with me, and I scored a brilliant goal. Thank you.